this was a little something interesting that fell into our collective laps last week. And what was interesting here is that, okay, let's start from the beginning. First and foremost, it makes absolute sense for Sting to induct Luger into any Hall of Fame that Lex Luger goes into. Like, that's just like you couldn't have a more logical, apropos, absolute fit of an induction than having Lex Luger inducting Sting inducting Lex Luger. The history, etc., just makes too much sense, way too much sense. So there's no surprise here, and I don't think anyone was really shocked at the news, finding out, saying there's a what? Lex Luger wants Sting to induct him, and you know, it's like, well, duh, it's sure, of course, but the fact that this was leaked is not an accident. You know, I hope you all realize this. The fact that, you know, WWE made this information readily available for consumption via the wrestling media outlets is it's not a mistake. They want to put, you know, very clearly, they want to put Tony Khan, AEW, into a bad spot. They want to put him in a bad spot so that regardless of what he does, he ends up losing. Because if Tony doesn't let Sting go, well, you know, he's going to get backlash. And if Tony lets Sting go, well, he's, you know, going to look like a bit of a goofball. But at the same time, you're like, the right thing to do, you know, via Lex Luger would be to, you know, to let Sting go and do the thing, right? Of course, that would be the right thing to do. But, you know, gentlemen and ladies and everyone else, I would like to inform you that we are currently not in a situation where the right thing to do is happening in professional wrestling in North America. You know, Tony Khan has been, and AEW has been completely eviscerated for the past 2 years. Just completely beaten down in media, by the grifters, by bad faith accounts, you know, through their own volition as well. Like, I'm not saying they're devoid of criticism. No, they've done a lot of things that are deserving of criticism, but I also think a lot of this stuff goes overboard. A lot of the thing is nonsense. And this company here, this World Wrestling Entertainment, I think there was a while where they did indeed not consider AEW to be competition. But I think their tune changed when AEW ended up getting the media deal they got. I think WWE believed AEW would get a media deal, but not as big as the one they got. And that, my friends, even if it was true that back then, a couple of years ago, when Triple H would say we don't see them as competition, maybe that was true. But I believe now that their tune has changed. I think the fiddle is on the other chin, is under the other chin. I think they see AEW as competition now. I really do. Otherwise, you know, they wouldn't be counter-programming pay-per-views with their shitty Saturday Night Main Event things, right? Just like they used to do back in the days with Crockett, with Starrcade, and, you know, so on and so forth. They wouldn't suddenly announce a European tour just around the same time that Forbidden Door is being held in the UK, if they didn't think that AEW was competition. Now, a lot of you may brush that off and say, well, whatever, Warren, whatever, Warren. It doesn't really prove anything. It does, well, every time they've done that, WWE has run some kind of counter programming, or even when the PLEs air on Saturday nights, Collision always takes a hit. In the ratings, you can always take a look. You can see the trend that most of the time when there is a PLE on Peacock, people will choose to watch WWE over Collision. So it always does end up, hurting them. Didn't they run an NXT show just a couple of months ago, right? They run it in Texas, just like a couple of hours away from the venue that AEW was running. I can't quite remember the details. Wasn't it something like that? And WWE clearly talking to the talent, clearly making arrangements and deals. I had some pretty good chuckles when last week or a couple of days ago, the big news was that Rey Fenix signs with WWE. I'm like, what are we doing? It's like, why are we announcing this? Like we didn't already know, like we didn't see this coming, like miles and miles away. That was the plan, actually, right? But anyway, the picture I'm trying to paint here, if you haven't figured it out yet, or maybe because my artistic skills stink, is that WWE doesn't play nice. And it stopped playing nice. It stopped playing nice with AEW for a while now. And I don't think Tony should do anything regarding this. This, of course, all depends on the nature of, there's the relationship with Sting. You want to, I don't know what the nature of the relationship is between, Tony Khan and the Stinger. We'll have, we'll see exactly. Clearly this is a good test right here that we're going to see how this goes. I think au contraire, like this would be a very good opportunity to just like stir some shit, be petty. If I were Tony Khan, I would 100% have Sting come out on the Dynamite before WrestleMania, and give him like 15 minutes so that he can cut a promo on Lex Luger's career. Do the induction on Dynamite, and then send the footage to Triple H. Honestly, that's what I'd do. Don't worry, Paul. We'll record the footage. We'll send it to you. And then Paul does whatever the fuck he wants with it. And I know a lot of people are, get bent out of shape when they're talking about, this is such a big honor for Lex and he should be honest. It's the fucking WWE Hall of Fame. Like, who cares? The number of people who are in that Hall of Fame who wouldn't even remotely make it in a real Hall of Fame. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's in there. God bless him. I loved Hillbilly Jim as much as the next guy when I was a kid. But are you trying to tell me that Hillbilly Jim is a Hall of Fame career? Are you going to tell me that Queen Charmel is a Hall of Fame career? Like, it's nonsense. People are so wrapped up in this WWE Hall of Fame when it's for years upon years, it was, you know what the Hall of Fame was? It was someone sending a text message, an email, or a memo, whatever, to Vince McMahon and say, sir, who do you want in the Hall of Fame this year? And then Vince would jot down some names and send it over. That's how it worked. They're bargaining chips on top of that. Booker T negotiating a Hall of Fame spot for his wife for one of the most unremarkable careers in pro wrestling ever. I'm not going to get bent out of shape for the WWE a Hall of Fame, and Lex Luger being inducted. I'm not. So if Tony Khan wants to do that and sort of wants to make a joke out of it, sort of wants to show the world that the WWE Hall of Fame is ultimately just a joke, just a big schmoz that Vince put together to continue manipulating everyone into believing that his vision of pro wrestling is the only vision that is possible. And don't forget, the star inductee, the head of the class this year, is Triple H. For fuck's sake. Okay? You're not going to tell me that this is still not some weird vanity project? No, it's just passed down. I keep telling you all. Triple H learned how to be a booker, a businessman from one man. So if anyone thought that things were suddenly going to be extremely different, he's literally the son-in-law. And he learned everything he knows from Vince. The fuck are we doing here? So Tony Khan should grow a pair, and he should send Sting out and say, do the induction speech in my ring, and then send the footage over to Hunter. You figure it out, pal. I fucking love it. And yes, it'll make all the right people angry. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And you know what, here, on top of that, you know what? Tony has another opportunity to piss some people off and to get this, get some licks in. All right? AEW Dynamite Spring Breakthrough is going to be happening on Wednesday, April 16, okay? Which is tremendous. We wouldn't be talking about this, really, if it wasn't for this. Tony Khan tweeting out the following: don't miss Wednesday night Dynamite 289. Whoa. Why is he mentioning the number? Isn't that peculiar? Why would Tony Khan be bringing out the number edition of the numbered edition of Dynamite? That's so weird. Why do we need the episode number? Anyway, let's continue. Wednesday, April 16 in Boston. AEW Spring Breakthrough. Terrible name, but let's continue. We'll celebrate AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite becoming the longest running primetime weekly pro wrestling program in Turner sports history. Not only did Tony Khan decide to tweet that out as a slight, he had Tony Schiavone on Collision this weekend say those exact same words. This is how they're building the breakthrough show becoming the longest running. This is how they're billing it. It will become the longest running primetime weekly pro wrestling program in Turner sports history. Folks in the chat, people listening later on demand, I'm going to ask you a question. It's a trivia question. Are you ready for some trivia? We're going to have ourselves a good time. We're going to pretend we're at your favorite trivia bar, and now I'm going to ask you a trivia question. Are you ready for this? Here we go. Up until this point, what is the longest running primetime weekly pro wrestling program in Turner sports history? Up until this, as of today, March 24, 2025. Folks, what is the longest running primetime weekly pro wrestling program in Turner sports history? You guessed it, Monday Nitro. Now, let's continue with the trivia. Who is the person who created WCW Monday Nitro and brought it to such heights of success where they defeated WWF in the ratings for 83 straight weeks? Who is the individual who did that? Let me know, chat. Let me know, people at home playing along. You guessed it. No, not El Dandy. Eric Bischoff. We are on the cusp of celebrating the fact that AEW has outlived WCW Monday Nitro, the brainchild, the baby of one Eric Bischoff, who has spent the last 3 to 4 years of his adult fucking life making shit up about Dynamite and pandering to a crowd of ignoramuses as he just spread lies through his teeth because probably Tony Khan didn't want to give him a job. Now, Tony clearly wants to rub this in Eric's face. If this is how we're deciding to go along with it, if this is how it's going to be billed as the longest running primetime weekly pro wrestling program in Turner sports history, I believe that this is a very subtle way for Tony Khan to sort of give the old chin flip to Eric Bischoff. But Tony, I don't know you're listening. You never know who's listening. Look, I have, at the very least, someone can clip this and send it to Tony. I know someone will. Don't be subtle about it, Tony. There's no reason to be subtle. If I were Tony Khan, not only would I be asking Sting to cut a promo on Lex Luger's career on Dynamite, but I would invite publicly Eric Bischoff to join him for episode 289 and celebrate AEW Dynamite becoming the longest running primetime weekly pro wrestling program in Turner sports history. I'd do it. Out there, tweet about it. I'd have a little media call before the event, like a few days before, and I'd get on the call, hyping this up, and I'd say, hey, you know what, Eric, I want to invite you to come celebrate this momentous occasion. You're a part of wrestling history. You want to be a part of the new generation. You want to usher it in. Why don't you come and join us? We'll have a nice luxury skybox for you. All the pretzels you can eat, Eric. Oh, and I know you're a little strapped for cash, Eric. Don't worry, all expenses, it's on me, Eric. You can bring your lovely wife, and you can come hang out. You can have a taste of the good life. You remember that? You remember when you used to hang out in luxury boxes, Eric? You can come do that. That's what I'd do if I were Tony Khan. I would 100% do that. I'd say, fuck them kids. It doesn't, and let it get Bully Ray upset on Busted Open Radio. I couldn't give a shit. This is the time for the victory lap. This is the time for the victory lap. This is, for the past 3 years, all of these assholes have been promoting the fact that AEW would not make it through the year, that it was going to go under, that it was mismanaged, that it was going to die, that Tony Khan was awful, that the wrestling sucked. And nonetheless, it's going to outlast the one promotion that was thrown into the limelight, that was established as being the gold standard if you ever wanted to defeat WWE or whatever stupid, asinine vision that they had to defeat WWE. And these same people from back then can't let go of the past, can't let go of their past successes. Otherwise, if they let go of the past successes, they don't have any other successes to show. They got nothing else. What does Eric Bischoff have to show other than the fucking 83 weeks? That's his brand. It's not only his brand, folks. It's his identity. That's all he's got. What does Bubba Ray Dudley have outside of a fucking TLC match? That's all he's got. They can't let go of the past. They have to hang on to the past. So they bring the past into the present. And it's like the only way AEW is going to survive is if they beat WWE. But no, not in a modern contemporary setting where the game has completely changed and is utterly different from what it used to be back in 1996, when the entire way of making money in the wrestling business has changed. It's not the same thing at all. Eric, and he pretends, he makes believe that he has it all understood, but he doesn't. He doesn't. Because all he's got is the past. That's all he's got to clasp onto. So why doesn't he come as a ghost from the past onto Dynamite number 289, the spring breakthrough, and usher in the longest running primetime weekly pro wrestling program in Turner sports history? Send out the invitation. Tony, get it out there. Take your victory lap. Show WWE that you're not gonna bend the knee, that you're not gonna fuck around with them. They fuck with you, you fuck with them. Have Sting cut the promo on Lex Luger. Then send the footage to Triple H so he can use it on his show. That's how it should go. Take your wins. You got some W's. Use them. Make them happen. Tell me I'm wrong.